Hey friends, welcome back to my channel. Today's video is the long-awaited Q&A video, so stick around to hear some answers to your questions. Here are your questions, and I'm going to do my best to answer them. Now, of course, I've read the questions, but I've not prepared answers or anything like that. So we're just gonna go with it. These are questions that I am pulling from my post here on YouTube. If you guys like this, or if you want me to do another one, feel free to let me know and ask some questions down in the comments. Or you can just always ask a question and I can answer it. But I wanted to do these. I like watching Q&As. I think it's cool. I think you get to see kind of some personality and you get to know me a little bit more. And maybe you get to talk about things that, aren't worth a full video, or maybe things that I don't really think about. But if there is anything that I mention, feel free, and you want a full video on it, feel free to let me know. And I can work it in. So I'm just going to start at the top and go down. So first question is tips on homeschooling an only child. Also, what your schedule looks like, including chores, like a block or relaxed schedule. So tips on homeschooling an only child. I did do a video just kind of talking about homeschooling an only child. I can link that for you if you'd like to watch that. This is something that I've really kind of been thinking about. There are a couple of moms here on YouTube that have only children, and so, or only one child. And so I have been thinking of maybe us trying to get together and do something just to kind of give some tips, because I know we are not the only ones, but I will link the video just kind of talking about homeschooling an only child. As far as our schedule, including chores, so we just have kind of a rhythm. I do not have a schedule. I do not have certain times, certain things have to be done. I did get the Garmin VivoFit Junior watch for my daughter because it's just a watch. But there's an app on my phone that I can set certain times, an alarm will go off on the watch for certain things that I want to get done. So that's something, maybe that you can look into. It was like $80 or $90, so it's a little pricey for a kid's watch, but it has done really well for us, and it has eliminated the back and forth. It's just, your watch says it's 8 o'clock, so that means it's time for you to get up and get dressed, kind of thing. So it's kind of helped us in keeping that rhythm and flow. But I'm not real strict as far as that is concerned. Just that, 8 o'clock, the watch goes off. If she's in the middle of eating breakfast, I'm not going to stop her from eating breakfast. But just that's the thing that comes next. And then when she completes things, she gets little rewards and coins on the app, and she can turn those in for, screen time or whatever. So, hopefully that answers your question. Next, what has brought you the most joy from homeschooling? What has brought me the most joy? Being able to see all the growth, and to watch her learn how to read, and watch her figure out a math problem, like those light bulb moments. And yeah, I mean, it's hard to say this is one particular thing, or this is the thing that brings me the most joy, but doing life with my family brings me the most joy, and homeschooling is just part of that. It's just included in that. So I don't really know if that answers your question, but what's your favorite homeschool curriculum and your least favorite? Oh, spicy. I can't honestly answer this question because we haven't used that many curriculums. And that's just the honest truth. We did do the Level K primer from The Good and the Beautiful. That was the very first thing we tried, and we did not like that. Now that was a couple of years ago. From my understanding, The Good and the Beautiful, they're kind of upgrading and changing a lot of things with their language arts being included in that. So I can't speak to how it is now or anything like that. And quite honestly, I have no interest in trying it again or going back to it because we're very happy with Gather Round. So at that, I mean, I could say our least favorite is The Good and the Beautiful and our most favorite is Gather Round, but that's a very controversial statement, if you guys know what I'm saying. And it's not necessarily the truth. I haven't really tried a lot because we got very, very lucky to have found Gather Round, pretty close to the beginning of us homeschooling. And it just happened to be one of those things that have worked for us, and I haven't changed it. And so, yeah, that's it. That's my answer. How did you decide to homeschool, and was hubby always on board with it? So we decided, but we didn't really decide. It was just like a natural continuation. I never in a million years thought that I would homeschool. I was raised with a partial single mom for like part of my life, and then I had a stepdad for a little while, but then they got divorced, and then I was back to single mom for a little while, and then so I was very much raised like, you're gonna be great on your own, and you're never gonna need anybody, and you can't trust and rely on anybody. And so basically I did the opposite of that, and homeschooling just felt like the natural continuation. I was working until my daughter was about 6 months old. And then my husband and I, that job basically said, either you come back to the office, because they did let me work from home before work from home was like the thing everybody was trying out. And they let me work from home, and that really was working great. And then they said, hey, we're not doing that anymore, and so you're gonna have to come back to the office. And the office was like over an hour drive from home, and where we live, there's not like a school. It was a whole big thing. And so we're like, nope, we're not doing that. So I stayed home, and the rest is history. God kept laying these things. He kept putting these things out about homeschooling. And finally, I just said, this is what we're gonna do. And yes, my husband was always on board with homeschooling. Gather Round, so when I found Gather Round and was kind of telling him about the unit study approach and just kind of the different way of learning there, he wasn't against it. He just, like most people, even us, myself included, just didn't really understand how it worked. And so we did a lot of looking on YouTube. We watched a lot of Rebecca's videos, just kind of explaining things, talking about unit studies, that kind of stuff. And he pretty much just said, you're the one who's going to be doing it with her. If that's what you think is best, then do it, whatever you think. And so, yeah, he's kind of always been just whatever you think is the best thing, which I am very, very grateful for. Next up, I have an only child. He refuses to play by himself. When I try to get him to play by himself, he either says, I'll wait for you, sits in the chair and cries, or refuses. He's 5. I have to clean, lesson plan, etc. How do you get them to play? How do I get him to play on his own for a little while I get basic cleaning done or lesson plan? Any tips? So this is not an area that I am an expert in. However, I have found a couple of things that have helped me. First one, it's okay if they get upset. Obviously, you don't want them just completely letting themselves go in the corner or anything. But there have been times where I have explained to my daughter, this is the situation. I understand that this is, you want me to play with you, but unfortunately, I just really have to get this done. I'm so sorry. We can try and do something after, but I just have to do this at this particular moment. And she may get her feelings hurt. She may get upset. And I give her a hug and tell her I'm so sorry, but I have to do what I have to do. And that just is what it is. Generally, she will go in her room, and she may be upset for a few more minutes, and then she gets bored and she finds something to do. Also, as far as cleaning is concerned, and even lesson planning, one thing more than the, I have to do what I have to do, include them. Find something that they can do to be included in the activity. And like when you're lesson planning, have him draw some things on a piece of paper, or have him look through a book and tell you things, or I don't know what that would look like to you, but including my daughter, giving her a task to do, and including her in what I'm doing, that has helped significantly. When it comes to cleaning, same thing. Is she going to dust properly and correctly? No. Is it going to create a little bit more work for me? Yeah, probably. But I would rather have to take an extra 3 minutes to dust, under the picture frame, because she didn't get under the picture frame, than I would to have to spend 30 minutes having a conversation and we have to work through all these things. Just let him help. At least for my daughter, that's her main thing. She just wants to be included. She doesn't want to always be shoved to the side. And so I have found that in the times where I can include her, I do. And then she seems to be a little bit better on those times where I'm like, this is a thing that mommy has to do. She's a little bit more understanding, and she's a little bit more willing to go play on her own. Also, the closer we have gotten to 6, I don't know if this is a growth thing, a brain development thing, but it seems like the closer we have gotten to 6, the less I have had these kinds of conversations. Like the more I'm finding that she wants to play on her own. She's using her imagination. She just took a box, literally yesterday. She took a box, and she went and got twigs and all kinds, just random stuff. Honestly, I don't even know where it came from. And she built Jurassic Park in her room with her dinosaurs, and she has this thing. Normally, that would stress me out. I would normally be the mom. Me 2 years ago would have been like, that's trash. We're going to throw that away. No, you can't get scissors. No, we're not doing glue. I don't care. Do it. It's good. It's great. I love it. It looks so awesome. But she knows that she'll have that for a short time. And then yes, come Thursday when trash goes out, we probably have to give it away, unless it's like a big thing where she really is playing with it and wants to keep it, then that's fine. Anyways, this is off on a tangent. Those are my things. Try and include them, and just, have a firm conversation. This is a boundary, or this is what it is. And unfortunately, there's nothing I can do about it. But we can try and work something out later. How long are you thinking of homeschooling? I'm also homeschooling my daughter, and yes, I have only one child. She loves homeschooling, but sometimes I feel she's missing out on friendship, as she has no siblings. What's your say in that? And being an introvert, how to make friends for my kids' sake? This is a loaded question, I feel like. Okay, so the first part of your question, how long are you thinking of homeschooling? As long as possible. I hope to be able to homeschool through high school, but we will see what the Lord will allow for that. She loves homeschooling. I feel she's missing out on friendship as no siblings. I get similar feelings. Of, just like I was talking about in my last question, like she doesn't have a friend to go play with. I can't say, I'm cleaning the bathroom, so, you and brother go outside and play. She doesn't have that. But on the other hand, she doesn't have brother that's trying to take toys from her, or brother that is, older brother that doesn't want to play with her. Or there's pros and cons to having an only child and having multiple children, as we all know. And so those are things that I just try and remind myself of. It's like, sure, she may not have a sibling, but she does have free reign to just kind of play with what she wants and do what she wants. She does have a friend that lives just down the road from us, and they see each other often. So if there is any way that there's a friend in the neighborhood or something like that they could be friends with, that your daughter could be friends with, right? Is it your daughter? Yes. Maybe see if you can do that. My daughter and her friend, they play 2 or 3 times a week, and that is sufficient. They have a great time when they're together. They do all the things, and yeah, it works out really great. So if there's any way that you could find that, I would suggest that. That's a manageable thing for me. It doesn't require me to rearrange the day to go somewhere and have a whole event that we have to attend or anything like that. It's just a little friend down the road. And they've been friends for a couple of years, so my daughter can go down there or her friend can come down here, and that works out great. And being an introvert, how to make friends for my kids' sake. I don't know. This is something that I struggle with too. I am like an extroverted introvert. Like, I like being in my space. I like it here. And making mom friends is hard. So like going out and finding new friends, that's not a place that I'm comfortable, because I don't live in an area that is just like, oh, we love everybody. I live in a small town. I grew up in this town. And so it's like, anyway, if you live in a small town, you know what I'm saying. It's like, people, and I know people that homeschool, and I've tried to kind of like, hey, we want to hang out, or let's go to the park or whatever. It's weird. It's like you're dating. It's weird. It's so weird. But I did, this one particular family that we know, or mom, she's the homeschool mom. They're kind of starting, her and some other friends are starting a co-op. I have no idea anything about it. And so they're having an informational meeting that I'm going to go to and see. Yes, I said I don't like the idea of paying for friends. I still don't like the idea of paying for friends. That's why we're going to the informational meeting. I don't know. We'll see what all is involved, what happens. But yeah, maybe something like that, finding a co-op, finding some kind of homeschool group. Yeah. Okay, next question. I got two left. I'm trying to be fast. I've been trying to go to the library and get read alouds, trying to save money and use the library. However, book ends up having pictures of stuff I don't like or agree with. I end up going to Christian Book or Sunlight and buying their read aloud books because I know they won't have any issues. Sometimes that's not within the budget to buy books. I try a used bookstore and buy books that I read as a child that I know are okay. Are there a website that lists good books for children? If y'all know of any websites like this that give good book lists, please leave them in the comments, because I do not have any. I use the book list from Gather Round that come with each of our units. And then honestly, I YouTube a lot of books. Because yeah, I haven't found a website that I just go to that I can find good books. And good books mean different things to different people. What someone would consider, age appropriate for the particular age you're looking for, you may not consider age appropriate. So it's kind of hard to navigate through that. But yeah, I do YouTube a lot. That way usually I can get a peek inside the book, or, somebody will talk about it a little bit. And then I just look up reviews on Amazon and I just kind of wing it. And if it's a read aloud, we read it together, obviously. And if we get into something where I'm like, yep, nope, this is too much, then it's too much and we just don't read anymore, or we'll skip over that section. but yeah, unfortunately, I do not have a website or links or anything, but check the comments because hopefully somebody will leave one there for you. Okay, last question. How did you guys decide to have an only and homeschool her? We have an only who is homeschooled. So this kind of goes back to my how do you decide to homeschool? It was just seemed like the natural progression. We had only one child because I only wanted one child. I had quite a hard time after my daughter was born. A lot of stress, a lot of anxiety, a lot of change. My husband and I were not husband and wife then. We were not prepared for a child, and we very quickly got prepared. And so once my daughter was born, we were moving into a new house. My husband was working on getting his career going. I was still kind of working, but I was going to be off work, and we didn't know what that looked like. So there was just a lot that happened at that time. And I knew then I was going to need some time. Like we're going to have to settle in a little bit here, and then we'll kind of figure it out. Around the 3-year mark is when I figured I would probably have a pretty good idea one way or the other. Like, either I would know for sure I don't want to do this again, or it's possible that I would want to. And so I figured at 3 years, I would make some decisions, and, we would go from there. And thankfully, a friend of ours had a little boy kind of close to that 3-year mark, and I was keeping him for a couple days. Great. Those were some of the best days. They were so fun, but it really confirmed for me at that time that I did not want to go through having a baby again. There was just too much. I was having a lot of anxiety, a lot of stress. It was confirmation for me at that point. And so that's how we decided to only have one. And then, like I said, as far as homeschooling her, we just, it just kind of happened. God said, hey, you're going to homeschool, and here's a bunch of people that are going to tell you about their great homeschool experience, and that's what you're going to do. And I said, okay. And so here we are. So those are all of my questions. Hopefully I answered them, well enough for you. If you guys have any additional questions or anything, feel free to leave those below. As always, thank you guys so much for watching, and I will talk to you soon.